so aggressive. The recording message. Hi, if you're just starting the recording. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to your spring equinox practice. My name is Cassie. Some of us may not have practiced together yet. I am a yoga teacher, and obviously, and a yoga therapist almost. I'm qualified still. Here in Ottawa. And I'm really excited to practice with you today. This is the very first Nest at Home monthly ceremony, but they will continue every month with different themes depending on a lot on the time of the year, what's needed, and yeah, requests are welcome too. So if you have a Nest at Home membership, you can join every month. Of course, you can join every month either way or whenever you'd like. What to tell you first? Firstly, if you don't already have a bowl of water, you may want to grab one of those, like a mixing bowl or whatever kind of bowl. And it doesn't need to be a ton of water. We can give it to plants after if you have some. But yeah, some clean water. You might actually want a towel, which I don't think I said, like a little face towel, face cloth or something. So if you don't have that, feel free to grab it. No rush. Starting slowly today. You may also want to have a journal. So towards the end, we'll have space for reflection. So you can either do that internally, more like a meditation, or you can actually write things out, or you can draw, whatever way you want to do it. So those things would be helpful. And of course, if you have yoga props that you use, feel free. I'm going to assume many of us don't have props at home, so don't worry too much if you don't. Yeah, and welcome. Welcome again. I'm really glad you're here. I'm really glad Eugene's here too for moral support. I haven't taught an online practice like this in a while. I've been doing some audio stuff, but this is a little different. So anyway, excited that you're here. We are going to do kind of like if you've ever done a yin yang yoga class, usually that starts with the movement and then it goes into yin, into the stillness practice. We're going to kind of flip it upside down. So we're going to start much slower and more with an embodiment and expression of winter times. So slower and heavier. And then gradually we're going to wake up towards spring, towards this transition season that we're in. So we will transition from the cold, dark of the winter towards warmer and sunnier days. Hilarious because anyone who's right here in Ottawa with us, it's super cold today and wintry. But that's kind of how spring is. It's like we're certainly not summer. It's still in between. It's still like dabbling in each season. And very soon, and it has already started, but the rain will also come. We'll see a lot of rain that will rinse the earth and maybe us too. Soon after that, we'll see the world around us coming back alive. We'll see the trees get their leaves again. We'll see flowers and grass and all the things. Some of it is already starting. But sometimes I have felt this like urgency, like, okay, winter's over, like we're supposed to be getting on with it. But then I'm also seeing that the trees are still bare and things are still quite dead. The grass and whatnot is still not quite re-alive yet. So yeah, so maybe there can be space for a transition to take place without the results being here yet. So whenever you're ready, we can start with our yin practice. So There's going to be a lot of different options in the postures or the movements that we do today, or even in the reflection. It's all really open ended. Of course, you're at home, so you have the privacy to kind of explore how you want to, take what you want, leave the rest. Um, if you feel like, actually, I'd rather do this, then I hope you will do that thing, whatever it may be. So you can move differently. You can take any of the options I'm offering or none of them. You can move when we're still or be still when we're moving. Take what you need, and still we'll all be able to welcome spring together. So for this first posture, a lot of variations. One of them may be legs at the wall. So if you are close to a wall, you can lay back and walk your legs up onto the wall. I have a candle here, so I'm not going to get too close, but you get the idea. The idea being to have the legs elevated above the heart. You can have a gentle bend in your knees, or you can let the legs extend straight up. If you don't have a wall, maybe you have a couch or a chair, and so you could come to rest your calves up on that surface and lay back. If you have yoga props instead, you could take a supported bridge if you'd like. So bringing a block or two underneath the sacrum, the flat area of just above the bum, just like this. And then resting the hips down, you can either keep your legs on the ground or you can extend them up to the sky. We are going to be here for a while though, so don't feel like you need to hold the legs up the whole time. Even having the hips elevated above the heart might be enough. And if you don't want to do any of those, you might just come to lay on the back, knees bent, or any other comfortable shape to begin. Taking all the time you need to settle in and get as comfortable as you can be. Making any little adjustments that would help you to feel even just a little bit more settled, even just a little bit more at ease. Hands can rest wherever you'd like. Perhaps right hand lands to belly, left hand to heart. And let's take a few breaths to arrive here fully. Starting with an exhale, you can empty the lungs completely. And then we'll take a nice long breath into both hands. And whenever you're ready, you may come into a sigh here. And then a long breath into both hands again. And then maybe a sigh. And then one more breath, just like that in your own time. Now you can let your breath return to its own natural pace. Being here to witness the rise of the inhale, the softening of every exhale. Feeling into that ebb and flow of the breath, coming and going like waves on a shoreline. Every exhale has the opportunity to wash you back here into this moment, into the body, or when your mind gets distracted. every exhale, allowing you to settle even more fully into the ground beneath you, even if you're still moving. We may come into a sense of like landing here. And you can stay with your own natural breath rhythm if that's the place to be for now. Or if you'd like, you can start to lengthen the breath gradually. So you might inhale for an extra second or two. You may add a second or two to the exhale as well. No need to force the breath to be the longest ever, just coming to a sense of savoring the breath. Allowing it to move through you softly and freely. You may even begin to pause or linger in the space between breaths for a second or two. So there is a moment, perhaps very brief, when you have inhaled but not yet exhaled, or you have exhaled but not yet inhaled. And in that pause, in that quiet moment, you may pause for a second or two, as if to bask in the stillness of that moment, the quietness or the peace. And even if you don't want to extend that pause at all, you may just notice it as it is, its own length, even if it's very brief. If the breath were seasons, the hold at the top of the inhale, lungs are full of breath, would be summer. The exhale afterwards would be fall. The pause on empty being winter. And the breath back in being spring. Spring and fall being those transitional seasons, like the movement of the breath. Things are transforming. We haven't quite landed anywhere yet. The season itself is marked by change and shift. In really big and dramatic ways sometimes. I mean, it's visual all around us. Viscerally, you may remember the feeling of seeing bright green grass pushing up through a layer of dead grass from the season before. Of course, we too are the earth. We too are affected by the changes in season. We too have our own seasons. But in terms of the seasons shifting around us, they make a dramatic difference in how we feel. Of course, the temperature is different. The light that we receive is different. Our levels of activity or socializing or energy may all be different. And yet, much of the world expects us to exist with the same output all the time. So, by remembering the seasons as we are tonight, maybe there is room for some grace to be in transition, to be inconsistent, to have periods of energy and periods of rest. And to honor those needs as they come. Let's take about 7 or so more breaths here. If you're uncomfortable as you are, please adjust first and we'll settle in for 7 more breaths as if you had all the time in the world to take these breaths. If your legs are up the wall or up the couch or wherever they are, you can gradually bring them in towards your belly when you're ready. So knees can drop in. And then raising the right arm overhead, you can come to roll onto the right side into your fetal pose, resting head on bottom arm. You can draw the knees in towards the chest. Feel free to bring some props to help you too. If you have some pillow, bolster, or block can be under head or between the knees. And of course, if it's more comfortable for you laying on the other side, please do. As you breathe here, you may allow a kind of heaviness, allowing the bones to be heavy and drawn in towards the earth. So that the muscles may be soft and at ease. We here are still finding ourselves in winter time. We haven't quite shifted yet. And when you're ready, we're going to be bringing that right arm out from under the head and reaching it forward so that the wrist is in line with your shoulder roughly. And then you can stack the left hand on top. You can think of how you would imitate like alligator to a kid. That's the best way I can describe it. And now you might find that you need some support for your head. So please feel free to bring a pillow, a block, anything that you need under your head, or you can allow it to rest down as it is. When you're all ready, we're gonna start to slide this left hand up the right arm, nice and slow. The hand drifts across the collarbones, and you can open up into a twist, allowing the head and the left arm to come to the left side. And then you can re-bend that left elbow, let the left hand sweep across the collarbones and all the way back down that right arm. And we'll continue just like that, nice and slow. Left hand sweeps up the right arm, opening you in and out of that twist. This is a practice my teacher Anne taught me called rolling. You may really notice the feeling of the fingers drifting up the arm, across the chest. And then next time you find yourself in that twist, let's meet there. So taking your time, arms can be open, wide. You can allow a heaviness through that left shoulder. Make any adjustments you need to be comfortable, to settle in. Breathing in to allow the lower belly to expand. And on the exhale, softening through that left shoulder, perhaps even a melting sensation there. When you're ready, nice and slow, the knees can come back into the belly. We'll come back through center. Moving with as little effort as you can. You can reach your left arm up over your head, and we'll tip over to fetal on the left side, as long as that feels okay for you. We'll start with our movement before we settle into stillness. So you can extend that left arm out roughly in line with your shoulder. Feel free to support your head. Right hand stacks on left, and then you can start to slide right hand up the left arm across the collarbones and opening into your twist. And taking your time just like that. Or in some other way that feels right, including settling into stillness at any time, or slowly and gently transitioning towards springtime now, without the need to rush. And then the next time you open up into that twist, feel free to hold there if you like, letting the head and that right arm open up to the right side. Breathing in towards the lower belly. And on the exhale, allowing a softening or a melting through that right shoulder. When you're ready, knees can come back into the belly. You can bring your knees nice and wide towards the shoulders. Any amount is great. Taking your time to make a couple circles here. Knees can open to shoulders, press away, lengthening the arms, and then closing at the top like a little book. And taking your time as if we could gradually and gently iron out the creaks of winter, the stiffness of winter. Gradually bringing fluidity. And then feel free in the opposite direction, same thing, a few more rounds. When you're ready, knees drawing back into the belly, we'll make our way up towards a seated shape. So take your time to get there. You can always roll to one side and use your hands to help you. And come to sit however you're most comfortable. You can always sit up on a prop if you'd like, on a pillow. And then you may sway a little side to side, finding that connection between the sit bones, that bony part of your bum, and the ground beneath you. And from that support, coming to sit nice and tall, crown of the head towards the sky. Let's take a long breath in right here. And on your exhale, chin nice and slow into the chest. Breathing in, right ear draws over to the right shoulder, nice and slow. And then with your exhale, chin can come back into the chest. Go ahead, just like this, side to side. Nice and slow, bringing some care, some attention to any tight, sticky spots around the neck and shoulders, allowing shoulders to stay heavy, away from the ears, and belly can be soft. And you might even loosen the jaw. Feel free to let the teeth separate. The mouth might even kind of hang open. Drooling is fine. Maybe coming into this sense of gradually waking back up. I saw a video the other day of a bear emerging from hibernation. It was like so wonky and confused and adorable and precious. And I kind of think of that as what we're doing here. Like, big stretch. Now, we have room to continue a little bit longer. Always the option if you wanted to make a little tent with your fingers. It may make it a little deeper, which could be a good idea or not, so feel free to adjust. And you might slow down now or pause in those especially tight spots, really loosening through the jaw and allowing ease to come in. From here, and come to meet eventually chin to chest. You can interlace the hands behind your head if possible. Otherwise, about a 90-degree bend in the elbows like your cactus arms. And then when you're ready, heart can start to lift, head can start to lift. You can lean the head a little bit back into the hands, otherwise the elbows back, heart forward. And then with our exhale, we'll draw back in, chin to chest, maybe the elbows kind of in towards the head if you've got that interlace. And just like this with your breath, we open the heart, maybe even looking up towards the sky a little. bear waking up from his hibernation with a big stretch. But actually, this is called sunflower pose, which is equally adorable and fitting for spring equinox today. Next time you open up, you're welcome to stay there if you'd like, drawing the heart forward and the elbows back. Whether you have the hands separated or together is up to you. Let's take a breath right here, breathing into the lower belly. And on the exhale, seeing if the shoulders could work a little less hard here. If you're leaning back at all, try to sit nice and tall now. We'll breathe in as we are. And the exhale, right elbow can tip towards the ground. Pull that length in the left side. And then inhaling through center. And exhaling to tip to the other side. And just like that, making your way side to side. You choose how much, of course, and if this becomes too much to hold behind the head, feel free to come into your cactus arms, or the arms could even come down and letting it really just be a side bend. Just moving at your own pace here in your own way. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. You can reach the knuckles up towards the sky. Hands can be interlaced or not. We'll breathe in. And with your exhale, chin to chest, you can round the spine forward, fingertips reaching forward. And then inhale back up, heart forward, maybe looking up. And exhale to round. And last one at your own pace. Hands can come down into the lap. You can sit nice and tall, lengthen out the spine. Let's draw shoulders up and into the ears, breathing in. Take your time with a nice roll all the way back and down the back. Breathing in, shoulders to ears. And down the back. One more, taking your time, especially with the lowering of the shoulders, as if we could put down all the tension and tightness, stiffness that comes in winter times. Yeah. We're going to come towards some cat-cow movements. So if you want to do this seated, the chest draws forward, shoulders back, and then you reverse it. Chin to chest, shoulders forward, rounding the spine. You choose how much, of course. If you'd like to do it from your tabletop, knees roughly underneath the hips, wrists roughly underneath the shoulders. You can breathe in, sink the belly, lift the heart, the gaze, the tailbone, any amount. And exhaling, chin can draw in towards the chest, rounding through the spine. And just like that, go ahead, back and forth. Of course, you're always free to come off those tracks, moving side to side, in circles, in whatever way feels good. If you'd like to pause in stillness anywhere, of course, that's an option too. And if you'd like to pad your knees up, whatever you've got available is great. A pillow, a bolster, a blanket, your mat rolled up. Letting all the little creaks and cracks come. And we're about halfway through our time here. So if there's anything you want to change, anywhere you want to linger, please do. And eventually We can come back to a long neutral spine. You may walk the knees a little wider apart than hips distance here, and then you can walk the hands in a little closer than shoulder distance. We'll start with the right arm. You can reach it forwards and then up any amount, and then back, allowing the hips to come back towards the heels a little if you'd like. And just like that, it's a big wide circle, kind of like a clock-like motion, opening up all the way in and around the shoulder, the chest. And we'll meet right fingers to the sky on our inhale. As you breathe out, right arm can thread underneath the left now, setting the outer right shoulder all the way down to the mat and the head as well. You can always bring a little support underneath your head if you'd like. There's a few arm options. You might draw the left fingertips forward for length on the left side, or to increase the twist, left hand could come towards the lower back or right hip crease. Either way, if you'd like, you may start to tug the hips a little to the right side and breathing here. Perhaps even back into those long breaths. From here, you can unravel, eventually coming to meet with left hand roughly under the shoulder, fingertips spreading wide. We'll press into that left hand and breathe in, right arm to the sky. And when you're ready, right hand can plant down roughly underneath your face. Left fingertips can reach forwards, up, and back, going ahead with your big, wide circles. Of course, they may not be that big or wide. You can always make them a little smaller and take your time. Next, inhale, we can meet with left fingertips towards the sky. And then the left arm can thread under the right. This time, the outer left shoulder towards the mat, head rests down. Right fingertips could crawl forward for that lengthening, or for a little bit more of a twist, you can bring right hand to low back or left hip crease. From there, the hips may very gently tug towards the left. And even though we're all twisted up, seeing if we could bring some of that length or fluidity back into our breath rhythm here. Whenever you're ready, you can unravel, bringing right hand back towards the ground, pressing into it. Left arm opens wide towards the sky. And on your exhale, go ahead and bring that left hand back down. Let's bring the knees nice and wide apart for child's pose. Hips can drop back towards the heels. You can stretch the fingertips forward, resting forehead to the mat or to a prop. If you're more comfortable seated, feel free taking a few long breaths right here where you are. Feeling free to stay here longer or to return here at any time that you might want to add in a little bit more of this rest. If you'd like to continue moving, you can start to make your way back towards table, taking any movements you might want along the way, or a sip of water, anything like that. And then tucking the toes under, you can start to shift the hips back a little and then floating the knees. The hips can lift up and back into downward dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. Go ahead and pedal the feet, sway the hips, any movements that may feel good to arrive. Just thinking about that bear again. And just like easing back in. That bear was not in a rush, I'll tell you. Also jealous that he slept through the winter. Anyway, when you're ready, go ahead and bend the knees, looking forward. We'll step to the top of the mat, see if you can leave a nice big space between the feet. And then the knees can bend so much that your belly can rest on the thighs or between the thighs, letting the head drop nice and heavy, as long as that's okay for your neck there. The hands can rest on the ground, or you can grab for opposite elbows, allowing the arms to be a kind of weight. I'm not so concerned about the hamstrings being stretched out here, so feel free to bend the knees a lot. You can think instead of allowing length through the spine, allowing the weight of the head and the arms to pull little baby spaces between the spinal vertebrae, giving those discs a break. From here, you're welcome to hang out as you are, or maybe we start to bring a little sway side to side. From here, you're free to stay as long as you'd like. Whenever you're ready, you can choose to keep your hands as they are, or you could interlace them at the back of the head again. Just try to never press on your head. Let your head guide your hands. Nice and slow, we'll start to unravel, coming slowly towards standing. Taking your time to get there. When you do reach the top, you can draw the heart open and the elbows wide. Back to your sunflower pose, but standing this time, and then we'll reverse that. Elbows can come in, chin can come into the chest. You can slowly round all the way back down towards the earth. And just like that, we've got room for 2 more. Taking your time as if you were a little baby plant, new spring plant pushing up through the dead grass all around you. Slowly and carefully. Sorry about that if that was super loud. Both my drinks are gone, but it's okay. Taking your time with this last round, you can eventually come to meet at the top. And when you do arrive to the top, you can let the hands come down now, resting them by the sides. You'll draw the shoulders up and into the ears, and then down and back. Up and in, and down and back. One more time, just like that. This time allowing the palms to open forward, landing here into Dasana or mountain pose. You can allow yourself to root down through the feet. Feel free to even shift side to side to feel into that connection. And then maybe we come to a place where we can stand equally into each foot. This posture is also called samastitihi, which refers to that equal standing in and down through the feet. You can allow a downwardness through the soles of the feet, the fingertips, and the shoulders. At the same time, there's a kind of liftedness through the thighs, the heart, the crown of the head. Standing tall here, we'll take a few breaths. Every exhale, you're welcome to come into a sigh if you'd like. Now we'll have some time to come into a few rounds of Surya Namaskar or sun salutation. The sun is literally returning, so it seems fitting. And I'll give you different options of doing this. Feel free to kind of move freely in your own way here as well. The idea being to bring some of that kind of solar energy into the body as we move now. So when you're ready, arms can sweep up to the sky. Soft bend in the knees. You can fold into the legs, letting the head hang. Halfway with our inhale, hands to shins, long spine. And with your exhale, go ahead and fold into bent knees. You can plant the hands and step back. You can lower the knees here if you'd like. Elbows pointing back will slowly lower towards the belly any amount. With your inhale, heart draws up through the arms any amount. When you're ready, you can meet us back in downward dog, or feel free to stay here in table if you'd prefer. Any movements you'd like. We've got 5 breaths here. When you're ready, let's bend back into the knees, gazing forwards. You can step or hop all the way to the top, folding in as you arrive, and then a halfway lift, long spine, gazing forward. Exhale to fold. Arms circling wide and all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands draw through heart center this time. And then back up to the sky as you inhale. And on exhale, soft knees bowing into the legs. You can let the head hang halfway with your inhale. And exhale to fold. We'll bend into the knees, planting the hands and stepping back 1 foot at a time. Feel free to lower those knees down. You can lower the chest down any amount, and then inhale, heart draws up through the arms. Exhale to meet back in that downward dog. When you're ready, let's bend knees, gaze forward, breathing in. You can step or hop your way all the way to the top. Soft knees, heavy head. We'll bow into the legs and then halfway lift with our inhale. Exhaling to fold. Inhale to the sky. Exhale to the heart. Inhaling back to the sky. And exhaling to the earth. Halfway. And exhale, go ahead and plant the hands, stepping the feet back one at a time. Your knees can be lifted or lowered. Feel free to lower down and then lift the heart up any amount. Exhaling to meet in downward dog. I have an option here. We're going to have the room for 2 more rounds of that sun salutation guided on your own. So I'll be quiet for a moment. If you'd rather settle down into child's pose or a resting shape now to add in that extra rest, please feel free. Otherwise, go ahead just like that when you're ready. No need for it to be perfect. If you forget the order, I'll be here. But maybe wherever you end up is perfectly fine too. Take your time with this last round if you are taking it. If so, then you can come to meet us eventually at the top of the mat, back in that ragdoll. So wide gap between the feet, nice big bend into the knees. You can let the head hang heavy. You can grab onto opposite elbows or let the arms hang. From there, you could be still or sway. We have just a tiny, tiny bit more active movement. Then we're settling it down towards poetry and rest and meditation and reflection. You might feel a kind of heat stirred up in you, welcoming the return of the sun. If you're here with me in ragdoll and you'd like to add on, you can start to sway your arms towards the right foot and then pressing into the feet. We're kind of carving up that right side, coming up towards standing, crossing over the midline, and then carving down the left side, little bend into the knees here. So you're kind of making like an oval shape with your arms. And then next time you come towards the ground, you could switch up that direction, a few more the other way. Taking your time will eventually come to meet at the very bottom, back in that ragdoll. Knees can bend a lot. You can let the head hang nice and heavy. And then whenever you're ready, bending the knees enough to plant your hands down, you can step the feet back one at a time, lowering the knees. And then option here, you could take child's pose or you could take a heart melting pose, hips stacked on top of knees, arms crawling forward with forehead towards the ground or to a prop. Of course, seated is welcome, grabbing water is welcome, whatever you need here. I am going to give some open space here for this next song because it's a beautiful and hopeful song. And so, if you want to stay in your child's pose, you can. If you'd like to come onto your back, if you'd like to move around, I'll give you that option. It'll be just under 4 minutes or so. This song to me feels like spring, like the hopefulness of spring. So here you are.
And I believe, I do believe that something good is gonna happen. It's been growing in me slowly and steady. I got no muscles. I am ready. I am ready. After my next exhalation, before my next inhalation, simsalabim, abracadabra. Here comes my accumulation. I do believe that something good is gonna happen. I do believe that something good is gonna happen. Something good is gonna happen. Something good. More than good, I've done more than I should. We deserve everything that we deserve, nothing at all. But I do believe that something good is gonna happen. I am ready. I am ready. After my next exhalation, before my next inhalation, simsalabim, abracadabra. Here comes my accumulation. I do believe that something good is gonna happen. I do believe that something good is gonna happen. Something good is gonna happen. Something good, something good. I do believe that something good is gonna happen. I do believe that something good is gonna happen. I do believe that something good is gonna happen. I do believe that something good, something good, something good. Something good.
If you're not already on your back, please take your time to make your way there. And perhaps when you do come back, if being on the back is comfortable for you, then maybe we could meet with knees bent, feet to the mat, feet a little wider than hips. And then the knees can kind of tip together, right hand can land to belly, left hand to heart, or however you're most comfortable. As if we could be almost in Shavasana, but not quite, unless, of course, you really want to go, in which case, enjoy. coming to be comfortable on your back. And I will read to you a kind of visualization I drew up for us to notice the seasonal shift. And it starts in autumn, so a little further back. You may remember where you were in autumn, like physically or mentally, emotionally. Autumn begins and the sun travels further from our side of the earth. We're plunged into the darkness now, into the cold. Trees shed their leaves and snow covers the ground. The snow comes and goes many times, but the cold darkness lingers. And then the snow stacks and layers and melts and freezes. We turn inward. We feel the pull of rest and darkness and introversion. And if we're lucky, we'll allow it. We'll fall to sleep along with the earth. Eventually, we wake up to the winter solstice and we know that the sun is returning. The days get longer, and even though spring feels far away, we know it will come. And soon enough, it does. The long days creep in. The warm sunlight gradually sprawling wider and wider across the length of our day. The warmth of the sun is a welcome embrace. We melt and thaw only to freeze again. Many times until we don't. And then the rains come and the rain washes and rinses all the last traces of winter, bringing to life the trees and flowers, bringing us back to life and back to each other. If your knees are bent, feel free to extend them if you'd be more comfortable that way. Taking a few moments in Shavasana with nothing to do and nowhere to go, a total surrender of effort and doing. All of you is free and welcome to rest into the earth beneath you now. Resting just as you are, I'll read to you from Ada Limon. This poem is called Instructions on Not Giving Up. More than the fuchsia funnels breaking out of the crabapple tree, more than the neighbor's almost obscene display of cherry limbs shoving their cotton candy colored blossoms to the slate sky of spring rains. It's the greening of the trees that really gets to me. When all the shock of white and taffy, the world's baubles and trinkets, leave the pavements strewn with the confetti of aftermath. The leaves come, patient, plodding, a green skin growing over whatever winter did to us. A return to this strange idea of continuous living despite the mess of us, the hurt, the empty. Fine then, I'll take it, the tree seems to say. A new slick leaf, unfurling like a fist to an open palm. I'll take it all. So, next up, we'll have some space for reflection. So, if that looks for you like staying right as you are and just kind of pondering these questions, please do. If it looks like coming to a journal, something like that, please do. To honor this transition away from winter, we'll kind of start there. So my first question for you, and by the way, if you've never done this with me, I consider these questions like a little doorway, right? So there's actually so many doorways. So I'll give you some kind of variations. But if you get kind of inspired to go on another path, reflecting on something related or not related, then just go with that. So maybe this could open the door to that. And so it doesn't have to be exact. But the first one I'd like for us to consider is, what lessons did we learn in the dark this year? The dark being winter, the darker time, the shorter days, generally a stagnancy that we may feel in winter. And if it's not a lesson, maybe it's about, what did we sit with in the winter this year? So take your time, interpret that as you will. I put that one in the chat for you. What did we sit with in the darkness this year? Or what did we learn? Of course, no need to have anything figured out or any clear cut answers. Maybe even just holding the question and wondering could be enough. Have another couple minutes with this one, and then I have another for you to bring us out of winter and into springtime. And my next question for you, or prompt or doorway, is what is melting or being rinsed away now in the rains of springtime that are coming? So, is there something that we may be like releasing, washing away? Maybe not forever, but is there something we're like washing our hands of, that expression? Is there something that we are, releasing, rinsing, melting away? It can be an idea, a belief, a practice, a place. It could be a job, a relationship, anything big or small. Spring being a time for renewal, for this kind of cleansing. And perhaps as the rain does come and wash all around us and water the earth, then maybe we will remember this thing and feel it being washed away from us too. Remembering that the process of the rinsing or the washing away is generally not a pretty one, like April showers bring May flowers. Literally, it's true. And maybe for us too, it's true that in the shedding, in the washing away, can be discomfort. And we know that summer is around the corner. And that there is beauty here too, of course, in the spring itself, in the transition before everything is kind of in place. So, wondering about what's being melted or rinsed away from us in these rains of springtime. So, if it were raining tonight, I might suggest that we go outside into that rain and feel physically that sense of being rinsed, but it's not, is it? Well, it's not here where I am anyway. And so we have our bowls of water. So take your time if you're still writing, there's no rush to do this. But if you do have a bowl of water, I'm gonna try not to drop this one like I have my other two boxes. I'm really rinsing the floor. Anyway, you can grab that bowl of water and you can bring some water into your hands, maybe filling it on the hands for a few moments, and then perhaps washing the face, rinsing your face with that water. And you might do this a couple of times, especially if there's a few things being rinsed away. And just taking your time to feel the sensation of water, perhaps a cleansing kind of feeling. As if we could kind of wash away the grime or the stuckness of winter, whatever it has brought us. So that we may be here in this transition season. And of course, I have just one more poem for you. You can continue doing that if it's feeling nice. I could do that for a while, I think. This one I wrote. I'm very happy to share it with you. It's called Warmer. The weather is getting warmer. The light longer. The birds are coming home. And so am I. The river is melting. And I can't take my eyes off her in all her power and steadiness. I stand in the grass and let the bird song bathe me. It's not lost on me that I haven't always been in a place to notice the fresh green grass pushing up through all the deadness. But I have discovered my love of renewal. And now I see it everywhere. Death brings new life. The signs are all around us. We are out walking again and poking our heads out of windows and standing on the balcony. I don't even really like birds, but their calls feel like victory. Here is spring in all her glory. Oh, maybe another breath. We could take an exhale here, all the way to empty. And then a nice long deep breath in to chest and ribs and belly, all the way to the top, and maybe hold for 3, 2, 1, and release. Now, of course, you may not be done with those reflections. Maybe we have opened up a can of worms. So take your time with it. There's no rush. We have the rest of the season. Tonight at 11:06 is the official spring equinox, and the nighttime is equal to night in both hemispheres. So that's a science fact for you. Don't ask me anything else about it because that's I'm not a scientist. Um, so that's what I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Shanti, peace to you all. Thank you all. Thank you to all the yogis and teachers before me who have passed on these teachings and practices through centuries. Thanks, Michaela. Yeah. So this is Nest at Home. We have these practices at once a month. Feel free to join in whenever you want. We also have weekly yoga nidras that have been quite dreamy. So every Wednesday night, and you get the recordings for everything. You'll get the recording for this too. You'll get the recording for yoga nidras if you sign up. So we'd love to have you come back. It's really special, I think, to have these ways of staying connected between retreats. Of course, we would all love to live on retreat, but we can't do that. I can't do it either. So in absence of that, we can meet here as much as we can. And I'm so grateful for all of you for coming and bringing back online yoga with me. It feels like a bit of a COVID throwback, but I'd love to hear how it went and if you like it and if you're into it. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your lovely messages. Yeah, thank you for coming. Well, we hope to see you soon. And just remember, my closing note is that spring is a transition. And so we're certainly not expected to figure it all out, especially because nature hasn't yet either, as you can see with the weather today. So a lot of grace and gentleness and as much rest as you need in that shift. And thank you so much again. Have a beautiful night.